Now, this part here, this is the next step, step 4. We're going to flip the workpiece around and we are going to do same thing, face milling. We're not going to change the cutter, same tool, same speed, 1200 RPM, same orientation. You realize this is down cut, this is up cut. Now we are going to cut to 60 millimeters. Why? Because it's in the drawing here, 60 millimeters, okay? And the tolerance for this, you can look at the bar table below. You look at the table below, right? From 30 to 120 millimeters, the tolerance is plus minus 0.3, all right? So what does that mean? Now, the first cut, right? The first cut or the first few cuts will be your rough cut. But how much you have to cut? You actually need to take out your workpiece and measure first to understand roughly how much you have to cut. And cut to 61 mm first. Then stop, then measure to make sure that you are really at 61 mm. Okay? That's the rough cut. Okay, so you do your rough cut first, 1 to 1.5 mm of cutting. Then you stop at 61 mm. After 61 mm, you cut by 0.5. That's still a bit rough, but it's okay. Then you cut by 0.2. After you cut 0.2, you measure your vernier caliper. Then you cut, after you cut 0.2 already, you check, do you still have 0.3 left? If you have 0.2 left, then you may want to cut 0.1. So this part here is not fixed. Please don't follow exactly. This one depends on your workpiece. Sometimes because of the rough cut and your measurement, you may realize that, hey, after I cut to 0.2 I measure, I'm only left with 0.1. So the next cut is the finishing cut already. Then you just do 0.1 and then that's it, you're done. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is not to be followed exactly. This is dependent on how you machine, how much you cut. Some people after cutting 0.5, 0.2, they measure again, they are still at 61.5. They still got 0.5 more to go. Then you have to cut a few more times, then keep measuring. Okay, now how do we mount this workpiece? It's going to be slightly different from the way we're mounting it now. Okay, there's a slight difference. How do we go about doing it? The first thing after machining, always clean away the chips from the vise. Okay, now be careful of your cutter, where your cutter is. Make sure you don't cut yourself. Okay, so you bring it out. So that you're always safe. Bring it out. Right?
Then we need to unscrew the thing.
Yes, then you need to take your workpiece out. You need to take your workpiece out.
Wait, so whenever you want to measure, you take it out?
No, because this time around I'm going to do my...
Okay.
Yeah, I need to flip the other side already. Now, how do we mount this now? But before you mount, what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that there are no chips on your vise at all. Make sure it's clean. Once it's clean, then you flip it the other way around. The surface that you just machined, which is shiny, flip it the other way around. But this time around, you flip it out just by a bit. Okay? Or if you want, you can have one thumb width. Okay? One thumb width. Alright, feel the initial resistance, tap, right? Then go by 1/4 of a round or half a round. Okay? You need to over tighten it. Then tap. So that it's secure. Right? It's secure. Now, why do I stick it out a little bit? So that I can measure it with my vernier caliper. Alright, and then I can measure it this way. You can measure it this way. Okay? Can you mount it on this side so that it's nicer to measure? Yes, you can as well. Okay? Either way, either side is okay. Alright? Now if you don't like measure it this way, you want to measure it this way, also can. You use the depth probe. Alright? Then what you do is it sits on the vise and then you slide it down. Right? And then you read. Okay? Right? So for me now, I take my measurements and I know that my workpiece is 63.5 mm. So I have got 3.5 millimeters to machine, right? But I'm going to cut to 61. So I need to do a rough cut of up to 2.5. Okay, I need to do rough cut 2.5. My first cut maybe 1.5, second cut is 1 mm. Right? How do I do my rough cut? Okay, I didn't change my Z value at all. Right?
That means
By right, this is still 0 because it's the same surface and the same height. It should still be 0. But on the safe side, what I do is I reset my Z. So I'm going to lower it. Then I'm going to reset my Z.
you need to be safe. That's why you close that.
Yeah, I just want to be safe. Then I just reset my Z and I go close to the workpiece until it barely touches. Then you tap very lightly. Close your fist like this and then you tap. Stop. Then when you see chips coming out, okay, when you see chips coming out, you set your Z to 0. Okay? Then you move it one side, and I'm going in by 1.5 mm. Alright? I'm going to cut. This is my rough cut, okay? Then I'm going by one more mm because it's 2.5, right? Now if you go past 2.5, let's say you do this. Whoops, what you do is you rotate back to about 2 millimeters, then you go back to 0.5 again. Okay, the reason why we do that is so that we eliminate backlash. Okay? So it's 2.5 and then we cut. Right, once we finish cutting, we can stop. Put a brake on it. And then you measure and check, see if you reach the 61 mm mark. Okay? Right, so I'm at I'm actually not at 61, I'm at 60.9. So you see I actually went in by 0.1 more. Okay? So then I need to do my next cut. So my next cut maybe I'm going by 0.4 instead. Then I go 0.2, 0.2, 0.1, then I measure until I hit 60 mm. Okay? Now once you're done with that, you can go back, you can start doing now. Once you're done with that, you come back here again.